Let's delete this and add a new sphere. I think this is Monster 107 maybe. So head. Body. So let's bring the head up. Nomad Sculpt 1.99. They've been really going through these numbers. I'm going to validate these two. So I'm just going to form in his head. Pretty much. Okay, I think that works. The body, let's use the gizmo first. Just try to get the general shape, make it easier. We'll go back to move. And it looks like everything is kind of joined up. But this is going to be more of a belly, so I want to put this forward a bit. So put that forward a bit. Okay, something like this. Bottom's a little wider. I make move nice and big so that the mesh stays nice and smooth. I use I have a paper-like screen protector. They sent me some a while back. They reached out to me and they were like, "Oh, we'll want to hook you up." So I've been using one ever since, and it's great. But I mean, even before this, I was using screen protectors, just regular like matte ones, and I like those as well. Or at least for me, like I just get used to whatever the screen is like, and it's fine. But I like having just that added little protection of having some sort of screen protector. I think that looks good. I want the head to be, make move a little smaller so it's not grabbing so much of the, okay, so that can be the head. Make his head a little more round back there. Okay, let's get the horns out of the way. I like to use path more than curve. Curve adds too many nodes. So they're kind of high. And I'm going to turn snap off so that it can go within the other mesh. Otherwise, with snap on, it's just going to snap to the surface and it won't go inside and it'll be annoying. Okay, so maybe something like this. Not sure if I need to. Okay, we'll go ahead with our radii. Back to this. Let's go with our radius here. Actually, let's go with one radius to start with. And then two. Now let's go with all three. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Oh, it's a little like, I need to add another one here. Just to get the shape right, you know? I'm like such a stickler with like little details. Alright, I like that. I want to make this round, so let's post subdivision to 2 and we'll bring division X down. So, oh, hey, don't start doing all that. I guess we'll just leave it there. That's good enough. I'll just use a line to move it straight over. Okay, so let's say that's where we are. The top of the head is very narrow. It doesn't go up too much. So let's use move. And let's just flatten this. Maybe spread it like left and right a bit. Actually, you know what? Let's not spread it too much. And let's move this over. Let's take a look at a mirror. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Now this would looks like it would go off towards the arm. So I want to do the arm. Why not? We have to do it eventually. What's up, Zach? Appreciate the kind words. No worries. It's always cool to pop in and pop out. I know how it is. Sometimes I like to do that if I'm scrolling through and I see someone on live. Just pop in and pop out. I like it. I appreciate it. Let's see. Let's shrink these bad boys. Just make them a little smaller. Okay, I like that. Okay, so for these arms, so what I'm seeing is what I'm seeing are tubes. They start from way up here. And the hands go down right under the belly. Alright, how did I get so many little thingies here? Let's go back to 1. Oh, you know what? This is in a mirror, isn't it? Let me take that out. And let's do arm. Let's also label this as horns. Do a quick save. I never trust the autosave. In my eyes, autosave is useless. So we'll make the arms bigger. Turn snap off. Okay, now this is kind of like, this is very important, this part here, because this part is flat. So you want to make sure that you okay, it's flat. I can worry about the back later. Don't really have to worry about it now. Just thinking about shapes for now. Okay, so this will go in like so. It's a little more bent. Let's do 2 now. Okay, I guess you're just going to get bigger on me. That's fine. We'll make this smaller. Let's go ahead and do all of them. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Just probably back some. And then I want to go back to the tube. And usually with an arm, they're not straight. They're kind of like in this sort of position. Nice. Oh, I don't know why I keep saying that. It's starting to bug me. I don't know. I have no idea why I keep saying that. You know what? I remember why I keep saying that. Someone sent me a link. Someone sent me a video. I was talking about Key and Peele, I think. We were discussing Key and Peele. And they sent me a link to one of their skits. And one of the guys was saying noise, which used to be cool back in the day. Or not cool, but it used to be something people would say more often. So now I'm stuck in my regular life saying it. But I guess that's the way it is sometimes, though. Isn't it? Let me think about this, the back of the body. So let's try to match this. I usually try to do somewhat of an S in the back. It just feels like more natural to me. Okay, this is pretty good. Let me move this up a little bit. I'm adding this little bend because I'm thinking I want his hand to be kind of like this. And maybe like the back of his hand would be here, and then his thumb coming out here. So I'll just put a little bend in it. So the legs, we could probably just go with straight cylinder. I'm thinking, keep it simple. So let's do cylinder. We'll go down and over. We'll just work on one and then we'll mirror it. A little bit smaller. Like that. Okay, so if the hand is here, I'm trying to think of the distance between the leg and the hand. So it would be around there, maybe. Let's mirror it and take a look. Looks like there's a little more space in between, so I'm going to make them a little wider, a little longer. And do I want to make the bottom a little wider? Just feels right. Just feels right. I don't like all this that's going on, so I'm going to go back here and smooth it. Even though it's very soft and we'll like voxel remesh and stuff. Maybe I should do that now, because I can't even really, it's too soft to really smooth. Let's see how much belly he's got. I feel like not enough. But I want to think about also, if I put this STL and stuff, or whenever I start printing, I'm always thinking about the balance. You know, I'm kind of just eyeballing it, but I want them to be able to stand. His legs look too big, don't they? Let's see if I make it the same size. That might help. His legs are a little big. But I think I like that. Oh, did I just undo by accident? I hate when I undo by accident. That's my pet peeve. Okay, so how do we want to do these fingers? The top part is all one part. So I have to think this through. Let's go ahead and add trying to figure out if I want to add make space for the eyes. You know what? We'll just go with wait a minute, cylinder, sphere. Did I add the sphere? Where is the sphere actually? Yeah, this is going to be the eyes. We can throw those in quickly. We'll just flatten them up. All right, what's important is the distance between the forehead and the eye. Depending on how much you want to match something, it's those details that make or break it. All of the distances between the forehead and the eye, on the side and the top, all of those. That looks good. So let's mirror and see if they're far enough apart, which they aren't. So I'm going to make them smaller. Adjust that distance again. Feels a bit better. My watch is telling me it's time to stand. So I should probably stand. Let me take a line off so I can make sure that I'm doing this correctly. Just want to make sure they're nice and snug on the surface, which they look like they pretty much are. He has a very funny looking nose, which I like. And I think, do I want to do that separately? Yeah, I guess we'll do it separately. Let's do a sphere. Let's make sure it's not in a mirror. So these are the eyes. This one is nose. Do a quick save anytime you add a bunch of stuff that you don't want to add again. And I'm going to take a quick walk. My back, you know, sometimes like, you know, my back has been feeling better, luckily, but You know, you want to take care. Like, I mean, it's one of those things that sometimes just like sitting too much. And for me, everything that I do is like on a computer or here, and it's just like so much sitting. And last year, some serious back issues. And those discs, they are a doozy if they get messed up. So now I try to just move every now and again. Okay, so let's make the nose just generally, just kind of like a placeholder nose. Same thing though, I want to make sure that I'm keeping it nice and flat up against the surface. That looks pretty good. I'll add the little other thingies. I'm not sure how I want to play that yet. Okay, so the nose is pretty high. It's actually like around there and maybe a little bit bigger and a little bit wider. So again, I want to make sure this is cozy in the mesh. It's really high, isn't it? That's okay. We'll figure it out. All right, so gotta be careful of undoing by accident. Let's make the pupils since we're here. This will be P2. Let's clone and make this P1. So P1 will be the pupil. We'll keep them in the same spot. We'll just move it out and shrinky dink. Of course, might change these later, but for now, I definitely want to not have them so far apart, because then characters look silly if they're like that. You want to make sure any pupils that you make, you want to have them coming towards each other. Have them towards each other, and in the middle, that will make your character be looking straight. Although he looks like he's looking off somewhere else. Let's move them down. And maybe we'll take, let's see, pivot, center, pivot, where are you at? You're all the way down there. It's not helpful. Maybe if I don't take the mirror, that's better. Let's tilt this down. Maybe a little bit more. Okay. I'm going to use a line and just move them over a smidge. Maybe make them a little smaller. Okay, we can change it later. For now, I think that's good. Let's save. Okay, now hands, fingers. I think the easiest way to do it would be the tube tool. And I want his fingers touching. That's the only thing that really bugs me about Nomad is, I mean, not just Nomad, but you can't, like, fingers like have to be touching, but then you can't voxel remesh. So what I wind up doing is creating the fingers, but then not voxel remeshing everything, creating the fingers but making them separate, voxel remeshing, do whatever I need to do, and then using move to push them together as needed so that they touch, so that there's no space in between. But it gets a bit difficult trying to do that. And then once you do push them together, you can never voxel remesh again, or else they'll fuse. And it will be all over. I think I'm going to go with 3 fingers. And sometimes I use Let's go ahead and do I want to validate it? I don't know if I want to validate it. Let's jump it up one. Let's put post subdivision at 3 for now. And validate. I like inflate, but I don't think inflate's going to give me as much what I need. Sometimes I'll do inflate and then I'll move the fingers as I need. Like kind of just very like rudimentary. But I don't think that's going to give me the give me what I need. I mean, I could do it, but it's not good enough. So let's take the tube. Let's take path. And we'll do one good finger and then we'll just clone it. Whoop. That's what happens when you have snap on. Tries to snap to the surface. Okay, so so the finger is going to be like this and bent. Do we want it to be a right angle? I don't think so. I don't think we want any right angles. I think we want something like this. I've been doing my fingers a bit boxy, so let's go ahead and add the profile. And let's go ahead and soften it up. So post subdivision 2 and then division X down. I don't know why my voice is so crazy today. Okay, that looks decent, but it actually doesn't look too squarishy. Too squarey. Post subdivision up again. Let's stick with this for now. Let's rotate it. Yeah, let's rotate it. Twist it, excuse me. So we'll twist it so that one side is clearly flat. I think that works. I think that works for now. Let's make this bigger, and I want to make them flatter as well. Although I might not have to, actually. This actually looks pretty good. I might not have to do that. So now I just want to think about the shape of the finger on the hand. So I want to make sure that that we're seeing like the back of the fingers in the front view. More like this. So rotate, so we're seeing the back of the fingers. I would also like to stretch this finger out this way, so I need to adjust this gizmo so that it works for me. What did I just do? I'm always pressing something random. Okay, so now we're on the finger. If I do pivot, center, pivot, it's going to put it in the center. But I need to adjust it. Oops. Pivot. Oh, I have a line on. That's what's killing me. So not on a line. I want to make sure that this is rotated. Okay, kind of like this. Okay, that should work. So I'll take it off pivot and just stretch it. Let's clone this. Move it over. And this will be our wonderful second finger. See, I love the way that looks when it's touching. I think it looks great. But again, that's the problem, is I can't you can't voxel remesh when they're touching. So let's open this up a little bit and maybe bring it out. And then kind of line it up. But not too much though, since these are the front fingers, they should be more parallel, now that I'm thinking about it. So maybe something like that. They just need to be far enough away. Okay, you know what? I like these, so I'm going to go ahead and validate them. And I might just move them a little bit manually. Because there's no rules. Oh, I still have to do the thumb, don't I? And these are close, but hopefully they're not close enough that hopefully they won't meld together. That's what we don't want. Okay, so let's just take a look and see. Oof. I think we're going to have to move them anyway. I think it's fine. It's tricky, but I think it's fine. I find them not to be long enough, right? They need to be a little bit longer. Maybe that's it, but I already, like a dum-dum, I'll have to do this one manually because I already validated it. Like a butthead. And maybe this one I'll open up a little bit. This is boring stuff, right? All right, so let's clone this and let's make the thumb. Again, this isn't really lining up with the finger, so I need to make it line up. So we'll do that. That's probably all we need. Oh, you know what? Maybe we can move these over a little bit too. So this is the thumb. These are the two fingers. So we'll just name these A, and we'll name this one B. Lowercase b, apparently. So the thumb I think that's good for the thumb for now, to be honest. Maybe I want it a little wider, and maybe I'll validate it and then use move. You know what? I want to isolate the arm and the fingers solo. And now if I want to edit the arm, oh, the arms I need to make fatter too. I need to make them wider. I didn't think about that. Did I validate the arms? Oh, I did, didn't I? That's okay. I'll figure that out when I get to it. I wanted to make them wider. Let's do pivot, center pivot for now. And let's take these out. Let's unsolo. Otherwise it's going to be weird. It's going to move everything. I just want to take the arm and try to widen it. It's actually not bad. I'll shrink it and then I'll move it back a little bit. Yeah, that's actually not bad. I don't mind that width. The rest I can do with move. You just make it nice and big. And I can just stretch both ways and it'll just widen out. Okay. Now for these weird looking fingers. This is the ugly truth of 3D sculpting. It is an art after all. And I actually don't know if I want how bent I want them to be. I think that's the thing. I want them to be a little bit more bent, but I don't want them to like melt into the fist too much. I think that's what I'm kind of struggling with. How did you get off kilter? There we go. I like that. Let me do a little rotation. A little rotating here. That looks good. This thumb now looks pretty good. So let's just isolate these solo so that I can figure out, okay, so for a thumb, it's always going to be a little flat here. And this part's always going to get a little bit wider. It's going to, just like our thumb, it's like that nice chicken bone there, chicken leg. That's what it always looks like to me. And it's like equal parts the thumb and the palm, which usually has like this is kind of going overboard, but kind of has like a thing like this. So if we look at ours is like right here. It's kind of like that. And then this we can kind of drag it so it looks like it's just one piece. Just like ours. I mean, everything I look at, like, I just use like our anatomy to make things look okay. And if I get confused, I'll just look at my thumb. That looks pretty good. So the only thing I don't want is, again, is they're going to voxel remesh. So I have to be very careful. These can't be touching. So I think I like them for now. I think I'm going to voxel remesh this, but I think I'm going to rotate it up so that they're not touching. Maybe a little bit away, so that when we do voxel remesh them, and then I'll have to go in and kind of move them. It's a little difficult, but I think that's the only option that we have, unfortunately. And we'll use mask and stuff like that, but it's tricky, but I think we can do it. Let me do a quick save, and then let's unsolo. Oh, then they're kind of, the fingers are kind of big, but I guess we're going to push them all together, so it won't be that bad. Legs are a little big. So then we'll move them a little more in. Maybe make them a little more stubby. Like this. Let's make a ground. So I'm going to grab everything. I'm going to turn on the grid. I want to use Gizmo and just move everything up so that his feet are on that red line. Oh, let me make sure I'm in. Oh, I am in orthographic. Okay, that's good. Let's add some little floor. I'll do a cylinder, which is what I always do. So I'll just make it big. And I'll line it up, and let's make it rounder. Post subdivision to 2. And we'll bring the division X down a little bit. Yeah, we'll do that. I'm going to bring this all the way down to the bottom and make sure it's floor, FLR. Okay, so cute little toes. Let's just go ahead and add some spheres down there. Cute little sausage toes. And what I'd really like to do is, they are sausagey, so let's do this. Let's validate. let's make sure that let's move this up. We'll name it toe. Oh, let's do T1 for toe. Let's get fancy. Okay, so we validated, so let's do symmetry. Vertex, vertex. But I want to change to local. And I could let me do show line. So we can now see the symmetry line. So I could pull them apart this way, but that's the wrong way. Because I want to pull them apart the other way. So I think that's X. So we go back to symmetry. We turn X off. Did I just say X? Z. That's what we want. So I'll do Z. And then I'll pull this and make it a little more sausagey. And that's it. And I'll just do symmetry. Go back to auto. Okay, shrink it a little bit. And then we have one of his little sausagey toes. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I think the size is pretty good. I like it. So, oh, you know what? Let's trim it actually now. So let's take trim with rectangle. And we're just going to trim this a little bit underneath. We're not going to make it flush. I'll do a little bit, leave ourselves a little bit of space. So T1, I will just clone and move this one over. And honestly, I would like to do the same thing. I want them to touch, but not be voxel remeshed together. So that might be another little project for us. I'll move it over and then I'll clone it again. I should have made the little toes, shouldn't I have? I should have made the little toes with it. Actually, yeah, it's easy. That's easy to do. It's better to do that now versus like trying to match them up or whatever. So I think I like this. You know what? And I actually want to make... I kind of want to do... let's take a look at these legs. Let's do another post subdivision on those legs. Let's validate. And we'll leave that like that for now. Let's make his little toes. And I think for that, we're just going to use another sphere. We're just going to do it really simple. And this is going to be TN. We'll just do TN for toenail. We'll validate it. We'll bring it over to the toe. And maybe I need to do I need to do a line? No. Oh, the toe's not straight. That makes sense. Okay, so now we'll just go like this, go like this. And honestly, I think that's probably all we need. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that as well. Do so, X-ray, yeah. So I want to trim that as well. Same thing, I won't go flush, I'll go a little bit below, just to give us some extra space. Nice. Okay, so, oh, that's already in a mirror, isn't it? What mirror is this? What is this? Oh, that's the leg. That's what happens when you don't label things. Leg. T1. Let's nestle this under. So then we can take this and clone, and it'll clone both, I think. And we'll put them a little bit further away from each other so that hopefully we can use move and then drag them together so that they can be touching. So we'll go here, we'll clone this one as well. And we want to make sure that they're not sticking out in a weird way. Which this one does look a little weird for some reason. This nail looks a little strange. So I'll do some slight adjustments, but this is easier than doing them from scratch. So I don't mind. So now I want to take, what's the best thing to do? So let's connect all of these. Let's take them all out, all the T ends. And I think we can just put them together. And then take all the T's and put them together. Oh, you know what I should do? I should just do one and then mirror the leg. Yes. Okay, that works. So this leg I'm actually going to take out and just name this leg. Not that it really makes a difference. Later on I can drag it back into that mirror and it's fine, but I think for now it's easier to just do it that way. Alright, let's do the ears. And let's use a cylinder. The reason why I'm thinking a cylinder is because you can do the same thing as a cone, but then you also have the hole. That sounds so weird. You also have the other options that are only available with a cylinder that are not available with the cone. For example, we touch that, and now we have kind of the same thing. Just with a little more flexibility. Okay, let's, I think it was rotated back a little bit, and it was back like here a little bit, so we could see the front. Kind of like that, I think. So the only difference is now we can do the hole. I don't think we want two. I think we just want one. And then I want to adjust it so it's thicker. Let's make this wider. So now we have that thicker bit. Let's see if we can make it all soft. Post subdivision to 2, division X down low. Let's put this to 3. So that's very close to what we had before. Oh, but then we also have, I think, this might be the wrong tool. Oh no, we don't have that. I was thinking we had the thing like with Taurus, you can like open it up and make it like a, you know, like a C, like you can just like make one size shorter, but I don't think we have that with this. But I think I like that. Do I want to validate it? That is the question. I think I want to make this a little thicker. A little thicker. Okay, so if we validate this, and then we let's see. What if I just trim this part? What if I take line, trim this, Voxel remesh it, like 140, smooth it, and I got a Voxel remesh it low. I want this to smooth nicely. And I don't know if this is going to work. Might have to figure out a new plan. Oh, we might be able to pull it off. I really didn't think it was going to work, but I'm just trying to work out with move, trying to make this look nice and smooth. This like transition from squarish ear to roundish ear. Now I'm just trying to thicken it up. Not too worried about the overall shape because we can always smooth it out if it looks crazy. So that's a little bit closer to the shape I need. Right? Maybe rotate it a little bit this way. Still 28K, so we still have some room to smooth and just get it nice and smooth and perfect looking. I can move a little bit smaller just to drag this now into the head. Okay, the whole thing is really big, so we'll just make it smaller. Move it in a little bit. Maybe a little bit more of a curve up. And then maybe a little bit more of a tilt. I just want to tilt it back, back that way. So I'm going to do pivot. I'm going to rotate this so that I can pivot it the exact way that I want. So I just want to pivot this a little more forward so that we can see this part from the front view. Okay, so now we just have these things on the head, and we're gonna remesh with the arm. We're gonna do it, and the ear as well. Okay, so we have to figure out what we want to do. I think we want to use inflate, and we want to make these little things. We could use spheres, but I don't know. Let's see. We might just want to use inflate. Inflate kind of gives you more of that sort of ice cream feel, I find. But the problem is it's very low res. So let's voxel remesh the head at 200. And you know what? I guess they can be symmetrical. Maybe we can just adjust them a little bit towards the end. Okay, I like that. It doesn't really have to be perfect. It just has to be interesting looking. Smooth these out, so we'll lose a little bit, but that's fine. We can always take drag. And these are pointier anyway, so I could always just make them pointier this way. And the head is going to melt into the arm, so that's fine. Let's take the arm and just kind of push it a little bit. And we can't really see the back, but we're going to make some back there as well. Wait a minute. Oh no, it looks the same. I'm seeing a lot of like optical illusions for some reason, where things are just looking very different. Oh, you know what? I think I want to do just one in the middle. Let's do some here. I like that. We'll go ahead and smooth those out. We'll take drag and we'll kind of make sure they're still puffy. Kind of like that. I might just leave it. And I might take symmetry off. I always say I might, huh? I guess that's just something that I just do. And we'll do one in the middle. We'll smooth that bad boy out. Oh, whoa. This one looks weird. Why? What happened there? That was so weird. Why did that one get so funny looking? Stick drag, we'll just puff this out a little bit. Does it look better without it? Maybe it looks better without it. That's fine. I'm not married to it. Okay, so this actually looks really good. There's these little bits. I think the best way to do that is just do a quick save in case we lose everything. Let's do some little spheres. Maybe we'll flatten them, rotate them, put them into the arm's orbit. Validate and then drag. And then move. Stretch. Okay, so let's do pivot, center pivot. And then move them in. I'm trying to think of how much I actually want them to kind of go out. But I think that looks pretty good, actually. So we'll do a few more of these. Maybe adjust the sizes so that they're not all identical. It's always good in these characters to not have them completely symmetrical. So we'll do a couple more. It's going to be boring while I do this. I'll try to do it as quickly as possible. I don't want to push them too far into the arm though, because if I box remesh them into the arm, I don't want them to, I don't want them to melt too much into the arm, and then we lose the detail. So. Okay, so maybe we'll do a couple more. Maybe some small ones over here. I don't think I've ever done a live stream with the camera here. Now that I'm thinking about it. Because usually the live streams are with Blender. Because it's mostly a lot easier to do it that way. Let's stretch this puppy out. Oops. Okay. I like it. They're a little out. They're a little further kind of out, but I think that's fine. Doesn't really bother me. Let's do one at the top. You like that move? You use this like little hidden sphere in here just to move it freestyle. It's very helpful. Okay, body, let's add a sphere. I probably should have done these first. Because they're like behind his other little ones. So let's rotate this, stretch it. Let's validate, move. Oh, come on. The worst. But I haven't heard anyone talk about it, so I guess I'm the only one that constantly accidentally hits undo now. I find that immensely frustrating. But, you know, sometimes I guess I'm the only one. The only one in the world. Okay, so one big one there. It's probably a little bit lower. So we'll just kind of stretch it. Okay. Two little ones. So we'll clone. Let's rotate it a little bit. Like so. Oh, they're a bit lower though. Okay, I think we can do it and bring them all down. Let's clone and move this over. Let's widen out a little bit here. Stretch you out a little bit. Let's make you a little plumper too. A little more plump. Maybe with the aid of Move tool as well. Daylight savings got me last night. I was like so confused as to how all of a sudden here I am thinking I'm going to bed not terribly late, and then the time just changes on me. It does not get more rude than that. Okay, so let's take this one and let's add a mirror. We'll add a mirror. Ooh. And we'll bring this into the mirror as well. Report back. So we'll bring that into the mirror as well. Here's the front one. So we'll call this B1. And we'll take all of these and just move them down. Like so. I think that's good. I think we need to clone this one. And just give a little bit of a little more over here. Okay, nice. So these, I'm just going to validate this, join children, and then join it with this. So those are all the front ones. I'm going to connect it to the body so they don't get lost. And I probably could just Voxel remesh it to the body. The only other thing is that there might be a little bit of a, maybe even with clay, some sort of little like, is that too egregious? I don't think it needs it here. I think I just want to take these two and Voxel remesh them together. Let's take the body and kind of match the resolution a little bit. That's the only time I use multi-res, and I just subdivide. Let me undo. Just so the number can go a little bit higher. But that's the only time I use that. Let's Voxel remesh them together at like 200. See what we get. Make sure symmetry's on. We'll smooth the top part for sure. Try to leave some of that detail on the bottom part, but smooth the top part. Maybe smooth, oops. Okay. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now with this, we need to move it out. I'm going to turn symmetry on. Let's turn X-ray on as well. See how these are all in there? We need to move those out. So it looks like it's laying on top. I need to make this bigger. I feel like they're not being. They're not going as easily as I would have wanted. Why did that get so weird looking? I need to do that again. Maybe I just need to do it from a better angle. Maybe pulling is better rather than pushing. All right, let's take a look. Okay, it's not terrible, but I'm gonna have to do some dragging because the weight just looks off. More so here. This one just looked crazy. Okay, that's not so bad. And by weight, I just mean like it looks like it needs to be like settled down on the top. Like I don't want it to look like it's just like floating anywhere. Let's take this thing, X-ray, oops, and let's move this out. This one kind of got lost a bit. I think that might look okay. Yeah, that looks better. Yeah, that's much better. There's some little ones on his head too. Let's use this little guy. Let's clone. And we'll just do some little bits on the top of his head. Maybe like 2 of them. Maybe something like that. I like it. Oh, here we go with the undos. It's going to be my undoing. Well, let's do a little bit of... Oh, did I just do it again? Oh. Stephane, help me out here. I'll probably comment and be like, there's a setting in the thing that can help you out already. Sometimes that's what the situation. I complain and then there's already like a setting that fixes it, but we'll see. I should do the mouth now. Let's just do a mask. Take a look here. I like that. Can do something like that. mask looks terrible. I can then invert, push this in. Let me check the back. Sometimes freaking loves to poke through the back and just ruin whatever you're trying to do. Sometimes. That looks pretty good. Maybe. We'll see. We'll clear that. And you know what? Let's smooth it. We're going to lose a lot here. But let's see if we can get it back with drag. So I really want to try to get that shape back. It's kind of like this, but you know the weird part is it's actually sticking out some. So I want to take move and I want to bring this part out. Flatten it a little bit. What time is it? What time is it? New York, New York, New York. I love it. I love how many people are getting on board with Nomad. It's crazy. Like it feels like just yesterday I picked it up and started learning it. I think it was right. It might have been after COVID actually that I started to mess with it. Let me take a line off. I can adjust this nose. How much space? Oh, there's not that much space. But that's fine. We can always adjust the... Okay, so the only other thing is I want to make the mouth a little smaller, so I'm going to use drag here and just try to close it up a little bit. And it keeps trying to touch the other side, so if that happens, just use select mask and just mask off the part that you don't want to move. Otherwise, it's just like super annoying. Okay, I think that's actually good. So now we're clear of the mask, and it's pretty much set up for us to do the voxel remesh. So I'm going to do a quick save. And I need to voxel remesh the head, the arm, and we're going to have to do it a couple times. I don't see any other way around it. I'm going to have to voxel remesh a couple times. So we saved it, so we'll see what happens. We'll get rid of the other ear. So the cylinder... So this is the ear. We can add, and you know what? Instead of adding a mirror, let's just do this. Let's go into symmetry and do mirror keep topology. And we can do the same thing. We can take all these little guys. I think these are all... Oh, wait, I don't want to include the head in there. Okay, good. These are the hairs. So I'll bring those above the head. These other spheres, I'm just going to join. The arm will... you know what, we'll just join them together. So this will just mirror keep topology. Yeah, I guess we want to do the same. We want to mirror everything so it's exactly the same. So we can just work on one side and everything will be completely symmetrical. Maybe I should just Vox remesh all the fingers and try to move them with the mask. I think that's the easiest thing to do. I'm just going to try to position them kind of close. Let's go to multi-res and subdivide them, which means give them more resolution. We can actually give them more. It doesn't matter because they're gonna go down. So now arms and the head is all one. And I guess we can throw in the ear. Let's join these for now, and I guess we'll throw in these. I want to up the resolution just so we don't miss anything. Not miss anything, so we don't... Oh, let's join them. So everything else is not high res, and these are really low res. That's what I don't want. So I'll just subdivide them and add them to... What are we adding them to? Ear? Ear. It's voxel remesh. We'll do it really high. We'll do it at 400. I hope there's nothing else I have to voxel remesh that I'm forgetting. Okay, so now they're all together. Oops. They're all together. Oh. They're all together. They're close. I just cannot scroll today. What the heck happened to his hands? I need help. Oh, I know what's happening. I rotated it or I moved the finger. And since they're connected, it wasn't just tilting one. It was like, how do I even explain it? I was doing this. That's what was happening. So in order to fix that, I'm going to turn this to vertex, and then I should be able to, nope, symmetry and vertex. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to try to do this really quickly because that is the most annoying thing ever. So I'll bring this back to where it needs to go. Everything looks good. I don't think there was anything else I did. Okay, so these I'm going to join together and then multi-res, subdivide. I know we did that. That was the hair, the ears are fine, the nose, body. I'm glad I did the fingers after I did the mouth. Otherwise, I would have had to go back and it would have been bad. Okay, so body, thumb, A. So I think all of these are all the fingers, right? I think I can join them. Arms. Subdivide. Okay, we'll just join these. Those are toes. So arms, ears, head things. Is that everything? I think that's it. I think that's all the fingers. So let's do another save, and then let's voxel remesh at 400. Okay. Looks fine. I'm going to smooth everything else when I get to it. I want to focus on these fingers because they have been the most elusive. Symmetry's on. Smooth. Okay, so the main thing I need to figure out is how to rotate the fingers and have them rotate how I want them to rotate. So I need to select mask again, but let's try to do it smarter this time. So let's take the lasso and Let's lasso this finger. Let's solo this. Lasso the finger. And then let's invert it. And then finish it. That's the only thing that happens when you have to go back and do something again, is you just figure out ways to make it to do it more efficient. I will admit that, as annoying as it is, it's usually so much faster the second time you do something. And I don't know if anyone else has experienced that, but I often experience that. Doesn't mean it's annoying when you have to go back. Oh no. Come on. It's like going through the mesh or something. I just finished being excited and Nomad hits me with another doozy. But okay, I think that's fine. I can also take mask and just do unmask. You know what I never do? I never do like the blur thing. So let's try it. Okay, so let's take the gizmo and let's move it to position. It's in the pivot. I feel like this is not going to work the way I want it to work. But the only way to know is to try it out. I'm going to try to do the exact same thing I did before. Let me rotate it this way. Bring it to the top. Okay, so let's see. We'll take pivot off. Let's do symmetry, vertex, and vertex. And let's just hope. Let's see how this moves. Ooh. Perfect, except for it not rotating the right way. There we go. Okay, so we're back in business. We're going to move that down. That's kind of where we want it. This side looks good. Accidentally undo. Perfect. Welcome to the new Nomad. And then we will invert the mask. And we will select mask and we will lasso this part of the thumb because we don't want that to move. We don't really want the rest of the hand to move. And I'm a little nervous, so you know what? I'm just going to mask everything else because I don't trust it. I don't trust you. You can be too annoying. So I want to take move, and we'll just move this so that it kind of touches and is closed, and it looks like the hand is kind of closed. Like that, maybe going a little bit underneath the other one. I think that feels right. Let's bring it out a little bit. We don't want it going in too much, just like we want to make in contact. I think that's perfect. If I invert the mask, and this one actually looks okay. I might even have to really do much with this. I'm going to take move and just kind of move this out a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to clear the mask, and then I'm going to smooth both of these. And they should smooth out fine and look perfectly fine. And look like little natural, little pudgy fingers, which is exactly what I was going for. It's my vibe. So I'm going to try to take select mask. I don't think it's really going to let me mask off too much here. But if I needed to, I could kind of take drag and just make this finger a little bit more, maybe a little bit tighter. But I actually don't think I need to do much more to this. Mask, unmask. Yeah, I think that's fine. I'm just going to clear it and I'm going to smooth and I'm going to be happy with my progress. I make sure I smooth. Make sure this all looks good, which I think it does. Yeah, I'm happy. So that's really what I wanted. I really wanted the fingers to look like they were touching. Oh, the thumb looks so big though. Why does the thumb look so big? Okay, so the only thing, how can I minimize the thumb a little bit? This is just going to have to be just straight sculpting magic. I have an idea. Let's take move and maybe just slide this whole left part down. All right, let's try smooth. And let's see if it smooths everything or if I can just really make it smooth the thumb, since that's what I want to shrink. Can't really tell what it's smoothing. Okay, I have another idea. What if I take move and I move this part? Oh, the move is good. It's not moving the other part of the fingers. Oh, it does there. But it doesn't on top. It's interesting. But I think that looks better. I'm way more happy with that. Let me try to even this out a little bit with drag. I'm happy with that. I'm satisfied. Sorry I haven't been on looking up. What's up, Jacob? What's up, Sheldon? Are there sculpts that you have made that you haven't shown the public? Yes. I have a video on YouTube actually now that's something that I just like worked on, kind of like this, and then I just abandoned it. But I uploaded it, but it's just not public. So maybe I'll make it public. What time is it? 2:30. I need to go to bed anyway. Maybe I'll make that public. It was sort of like it wound up looking like a weird Sonic the Hedgehog type character. I don't know. It's very strange. But maybe I'll just put it out. But yeah, I have tons of things that I completely abandon. I'll just work on something, and if I don't like it, then it just falls by the wayside. So that's a yes for sure. For sure. You know what I just want to do here? I want to just do inflate, since they're not going to be connected. Yeah, I just want to have a little bit of a little something there. Let's smooth this. Oh, that's right. I didn't go back and smooth these because I had to do it all again like a dum-dum. So let's smooth these for good now. Let's smooth these little details here. I like the smooth at 50%. I think it's nice. That looks good there. I'm going to do a quick save. Love the feet. I need to do the same thing with the toes. So let's add another sphere. Oh, you know what? I want to add the sphere. No, that's fine. I just need to make another really quick one of those little things, even though I can probably do it after we voxel remesh it. I'm not sure. But they're so easy to make that. We'll validate it, drag. I probably have the wrong local. I actually want Z, I think. Just a little detail. Why not, you know? But instead of just one, I think I want to put maybe a couple of them, just like little ones. Just to have some other little details on them. I'm happy with 2. I want to make a copy of these so I don't have to make any again. I'm just going to clone it, bring it up, and this will just be extra drop because they're kind of like little raindrops. So this is the body A, and then this is the body B. Oops. So we'll do a quick save. So now for the legs, where did I just do those little thingies at? Here, let's just join them and let's multi-res subdivide them. Leg. We'll do one full leg and then we'll let's join. Oh, I can't join them. Let's join these two. So this is the new leg, and then these are the toes. Oh, these are the nails. Those are the nails. So let's join them together. These are the toes. So let's join the toes. Okay, where'd the leg go? So this is the leg. I know it's kind of confusing. And now let us voxel remesh. Did I want to do anything else with the size or anything with these? Because this is now the time. For example, I kind of wanted to do maybe a little inflate on the leg. Wait a minute. Let me take this, put it to X, and put it to world. So what I did is I changed the symmetry from this back to the regular symmetry, how it normally is, because that would have been bad. So now the symmetry, okay, it's not affecting the other leg because there is no other leg. Because we're going to do this leg and then we're going to make it work from there. So I might want to do a little detail, like even like this. Just like a little extra detail. That's easier to do now. It might not come through that well once we voxel remesh, but it feels good for my soul, you know? You know, like even I might do a little bit here, but this stupid thing is off. I don't know if I need to get that crazy. It actually doesn't look too bad. Maybe I will get that crazy. But little tiny details before I voxel remesh them together. T1, T1. Okay, so that's the leg. These are the toes. So now we're just going to do a quick save. At this point in time, I always do a quick save before I voxel remesh things, because it loves a good crash. So we'll remesh that. This is what happens when it's not, the resolutions are different. So I'm going to take, oh, maybe it's the toes? We subdivide the toes. Let's try to remesh this as is. Okay. Oh, it could be because of those things. Not sure. What if we go here and separate? No. Oh well, I don't know. It's getting too late. I'm going to voxel remesh this together. High. And then I'm going to deal with the consequences. So we're just going to smooth this. It actually looks good. And now I want the toes touching, so we're going to do the same thing. Select yes, we'll do the same thing. We'll lasso a toe. Invert. I can't really see what I've done here. This might mess me up. Okay. Oh, the nail too. The nail's going to be annoying, isn't it? So let's just try to move this over. Slide that over. Let's invert the mask. And now let's now we want to take this and sort of do the same thing. Okay, so now I want to take move and maybe just kind of point this way so that they're touching. Beautiful. So now I'm going to do mask, clear it, unsolo, adjust the nails. Let's see if I can do it with just an object. We go to gizmo. Vertex is fine, but maybe object. I don't know if that's going to help me either. Select mask. We'll mask off these. Oh, it still moves them even though they're masked. Okay, so that didn't work. So we'll do it the other way. We'll do split. Split this. Okay. Clear mask. Did I split it or what? No, I didn't. Split. Nails. Split. Okay. Can I separate them? Okay, so we have one. We have two. Maybe I did split them and I just missed it. Okay, so that one's good. Now we'll move this back into place. Make it a little smaller, just make it fit in there nicely. And now we have the smooth back here, which again shouldn't be too much of an issue. I don't think. I hope not. The problem is it's like such a high res. I can probably make it smaller if I, oh no, I can't. I don't even know if I can decimate. Can I decimate this? I guess I can. I don't think I can quad remesh because I think it will kind of merge them, and that's what we don't want. We want this like touching look. So I think that works. Let's take the leg. Let's take all of these. We can join these back up together. Oops. Nails. And for now, we'll just nestle them under the leg. We can take this leg and we'll nestle it up under the leg mirror. And then we have both legs. Yay! I like the idea of this little inflation here, kind of like a knee. Okay, we'll smooth the ends so it looks nice and... Actually, we'll smooth the whole thing so it's a little less noticeable. Okay, nice. Wanted to take these and validate the horns. Validate. What is up with the name of this? Horns. You can smooth the top a little bit. Let's make sure symmetry is on. So we'll smooth the top of that just a smidge. And I don't like these like pucker things. There's absolutely no way to get rid of them, unfortunately, for the body. But what I like to do is flatten. Okay, looks like maybe it's making them worse. Let's try pinch, or as I like to call it, pinch. Sometimes pinch can help a little bit. Let's take a look at these wireframe. It's bootleg. But it's nice. It's not bad. Let's see if we can smooth inside a little, just a smidge. I feel like I've said that word too many times today. And for the teeth, they're going to be, we're going to do cylinders. I'm excited about this. Make sure you put teeth. Let's find the cylinder. I guess I'll snap it forward. What's up, Sloviansky? What do you think about working on iPad not Pro and 11 inches? The screen would be too small? For me, yes. I wouldn't do anything other than a Pro because obviously I do this like full time all the time. And I wouldn't go, if I could go bigger, I would. Wondering if I should invest in a Pro version or regular would be fine. If you want to do things like this, I would just get the Pro because you'll be able to use it for 5 or 6 years easily. Whereas like you can probably use it with another one, but like you don't want to get something and then for the next 5 years be worrying about if you should have got the Pro. I love the Pro. I think it's great. And I have the 2022, so I've been using this for 3 years now and have no reason to get a new one, so it's worth it in my mind. Is it usually about the iPad RAM? That's why most people go with the Pro? I think so. I mean, I think it's just, there's probably a few other things, but I don't really know the bells and whistles. I just know the Pro is more geared towards people that are pushing the iPad to the limits. Anyone got any tips on making action figures on Nomad? Yeah, action figures, you just sculpt. It's just like learning anatomy and sculpting an anatomical figure and adding all the details. Yeah. Action figures are fun. I don't know if you mean like one, like printable kind of thingies, but that's like a different story. But again, I guess it's the same thing. You just have to figure out how you want the joints and stuff to be. Everything is really just, or if you want to sculpt an action figure, just like take an action figure and look at it and just be like, okay, so I have to sculpt the arm like this. I have to make a piece that comes out. Like that's pretty much what it is. Like there's no real shortcuts to it. You just have to take what it is you're trying to make, find something that's close to it, and then just copy it. And copy it and copy it until you understand and you have had enough problems where you can work out what's going on. I mean, that's what I do. Let's make this a little more round. Post subdivision up to 2. And we'll bring this down, just make it a little more. I think that's fine. I actually would, you know what? I can use quad remesher later on. Let's mirror this and move it over and in. And actually, these are okay to like go over the bottom part, which is another issue. Oop, I'm going to take snap off. So it looks like these need to go probably around here. Probably around there to look believable. So I'm going to take this and I will try to use move and increase where his teeth are. And actually they're not high enough. They need to be about there. And that's not too bad. I'm going to clone. I'm going to go back to the other one. I'm going to validate them. I want to use move, and I want to put a little bend in it. I'm not sure if that's smart, but it's what I want to do. I'll move it back a little bit. Let's take the other one and move it, and let's make these other little teeth. I think I like the bend, right? Okay, that looks nice. Oops. Move that out a little bit. We'll move this up a little bit. Actually, I can probably just smooth this a little more. Yeah. You know what? We'll smooth this too. Let's just smooth it. Did I do too much? I think I might have did too much. Oh, I hate that. Let's see if I can flatten it now. It looks better flattened. It's still annoying. I can't get that like perfectly straight, which really, really bugs me. Let's see what happens if I add some clay here. Still weird. Okay, so let's try some pinch, just like a last ditch effort to make this look decent. Okay, I'll take it. Let's move these down a little bit. And the nose has two little thingies. Maybe we can take these teeth and clone them. And then use these. I don't know what this little thing is in the nose, but it's like a cute little detail, so I want to keep it in there. Validate, where's the nose? Let's make this like a little bit more high res. Can smooth it. And let's make sure that we bend it so it's going into the so it's sitting nicely on the skin. Ooh. Okay. Do a quick save. So now, I don't know. Let PBR. Select everything except the floor. And okay, we'll color it. Put post-process on. Turn the environment off. Add one light. Let's turn it up. Already beautiful. This is the key. And let's go ahead and clone this. This is going to be the edge. Where's our gizmo? We'll do a line and make it easier. Put it right here and then turn it. We want to get that nice. There we go. We can turn it up a little bit. Too much bloom. See this? This is bloom. post-process. I'm just going to turn bloom off. And it's also coming a little bit high. Let's make it a little bit. I want that line to be really thin. Okay, we like that. Let's add a new light. Let's call it R2. So we'll make another light on the other side. Illuminating a little bit more of him like this. Make it a little bit brighter perhaps. And then I want to put a light coming from the top. So we'll name this one D2. R2D2. And maybe we'll do a spotlight. So let's make sure we move this here. Make it a little bit wider, maybe a little bit higher. Make it a little bright up there. I think that looks nice. Okay, we'll turn the environment on and then just adjust the environment exposure so that it's more of a fill light. So we're getting a little light so that shadows aren't super, super black, but they're still quite dark. Okay, I like that. Next, I don't think we need any of this other stuff. Curvature bias. Everything else looks good. Checking out the lights. I just don't want them to be too bright. Okay, looks great. Let's go ahead and make this another color as well. Do a quick save. We'll make the body a whitish color. Maybe we'll match the horns and the eyes. I need to clone these, and one of them I'll delete P2, the other one I'll delete the bottom one. Pupils will be black and shiny. Eyes, we'll use the eyedropper and match this. Let's make them this color, but glossy. Teeth can be the same. This is a nice light pink. Maybe around there. We can always adjust it later. This can be the same, but maybe a little more red. Feels right. Oops. These will be the same color pink as this. The nails can be a little bit darker. And maybe a little shinier. So there is some painting that I have to do probably on this, but for the most part, it looks pretty good. For extra credit, I might do a little subsurface, turn the depth down a little bit. Do it on this too. always gives it a more natural look. And it also, the shadows, it really helps with the shadows because the shadows are not completely black. So it really helps a lot. It helps it look more realistic. So we'll do that. Maybe we'll do it with the teeth as well. Teeth. Validate. And you know what I do with teeth? I usually Boolean them together. Because then when I bring it over into like Blender, if you don't, then the meshes maintain their shape. So like if I was to do a subsurface, you could see each tooth going into the other tooth and it just looks weird. So that's the reason I do that. All right, let's get a nice middle thing. Maybe we want to put it on perspective a little bit. Bring it down. Might want to maybe, oops. And you know what, that's fine. I think I like orthographic for now. Let's do a quick save. Let's change the background. Oh, you know what? I'm so glad that it's in focus because I never touched the focus this whole stream. Let's take edge and make it a little brighter. Oh, let's take the background and make it a little lighter. It's always fun for me to try to match the reference. We can probably take the D2, which is the top down, and maybe we can make that a little brighter. I want to save this camera view so I could go back to that light and actually move it over. Okay. These should be a little bit more yellow in the subsurface, which is a really cool function that I don't think it's used or talked about enough. And actually the body, the body's red, so that's fine. This body can be a little bit more yellow, perhaps. It's the wrong body. It's the wrong body, buddy. But we'll make that a little brighter. Why wasn't it letting me go on body B? Just being a butt monkey. We'll make this a little more yellow and then we'll make it a little bit more see-through. Okay, good. Let's do another quick save. Let's go here, go back to our view. Oh, poor neck. We'll get rid of the reference image. We'll go back here and we will make a new one. Save. And then we'll go here. Turntable. Oh, and there's one last thing that I forgot. So annoying. I wanted to go to all the lights and change them from attachment to camera. At least all the directional lights, because this one doesn't have it. So now we'll just go back to 2. Oh, don't tell me that. Oh, the lights. I'm going to take 3 fingers and try to put the lighting back the way I had it. Make like it was right around there. Why does it look so dark now? One of the lights definitely moved. That light was, R2 was there. Edge, I think, is fine. Key. Key is fine now. D2 is now in a random spot. These are all the most annoying things that you have to deal with. Okay, so that's better. Exposure, I'm going to put this up a little bit to make our scene a little bit brighter. And I'm going to let this go again. I don't know what happened to the other one. Add view. This is going to be 1. Save. We'll go back to the lights now. Camera, camera, camera. This one's fine. Now we'll do the turntable, and the lights are going to stay where they're going to stay instead of moving with them. That's why it was so bright before. But this is much better. Well, I'm glad I got a character done tonight because I didn't think that I was going to go all the way through. And I may give him bigger eyes too. But before I go, let's just see what it looks like with bigger eyes. Because sometimes, like, you just do like little tiny details like that, and they totally change how cute a character is. You know. Alright, I think that's it for me. So I appreciate you guys swinging by. Keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to go more in depth, then definitely check out my Skillshare classes where I am a top teacher. I have about 50 classes, both Procreate and Nomad Sculpt. I also have a few classes on Udemy, so if you want to learn more, or you just like my style, you like the way I teach, you want to support me, those are some other places that you can do it. Thanks again, keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video.